Thank you all for coming out to the first ever Residents of Evil panel. We are great to have you guys here. It's kind of actually a lot more. Did someone pay you to come here?
I thought we'd have 10 people.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was worried about this. No, guys, thank you all for coming out. Seriously, obviously you're all fans of the channel. So I gotta start us off here. We'll introduce some guys here. Down here at the end, we have Mr. Leon Kennedy himself, Nick Apostolides. This is great. And over here, we got my bearded buddy right here. We got Jeff. Right, that man is the man who all the interviews. The reason why we get the interviews is because that man right there. Yeah. I don't know how he does it. I think he kidnaps the families until they say yeah to agree. I don't know. Whatever works. And over here is the brains behind the operation, Mr. JJ. Anything. Nope. You all this is fun. And of course, you know me, the Shades of Doom, Tony. Woo! You know what? Screw it. It's been 3 years. All right, then we're going on. We got Rap Master over here, Mr. Bob Spaghetti. Yeah. And finally, the last member of the team here, the man who's no stranger to sleep, Corey. All right, guys. So, you know the team and everything like that. So great to have you all here. So that's the intro of the team, and we're gonna. If you've watched the podcast or the live streams that we've been doing and stuff like that, we've talked a lot about Resident Evil 3. I know people are excited about that. So we're just gonna go down the line and see our thoughts a little bit more. So with that, Nick, how about you lead us off, buddy?
Resident Evil 3.
We don't know your opinion. We talked about it. What do you think?
My opinion? Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. Who's excited for RE3 out there? Nemesis was one of my favorites back in the day. The fact that he just chased you all throughout the whole game, and I just had that anxiety the whole time. And I think this one is even going to be more anxiety considering what they did with the second remake with Mr. X. I think Nemesis is going to be X on steroids. I'm excited. I think the graphics look phenomenal. Stories and characters, like, I just can't wait. I can't believe it's coming so quick.
Yeah, definitely. And with that latest trailer we really got a good look at how the Nemesis is going to be. I know they did a lot more with Mr. X and Resident Evil 2, so to see that now amped up times 10 with Nemesis, carrying a rocket launcher, a flamethrower, and do jump like 20 feet in that trailer, so I can't wait to see how that's going to be. We didn't get to see him running yet, but I'm sure that's going to be terrifying.
I promise, throughout the game when I'm playing this, I'm literally going to be saying, Jesus Christ!
Off the live stream and just have you saying that repeatedly the entire time.
Yeah, and you know, when we watched the one last week, we kept saying that Nemesis yeeted the car. He didn't. She drove him off the parking garage.
Yeah.
And
This old man trying to use a young man.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. I can't wait. Just the atmosphere. Nemesis looks amazing. Jill looks amazing. Carlos is cool. We're gonna get some new interesting things, some remake stuff. You know,
yeah,
like they did with 2, and I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
To go back to it again. Only a year later. It's awesome.
I know, right? I feel like we're back in the 90s. Because if any of you remember, like, old Super Nintendo games that made trilogies like Donkey Kong Country or the old Resident Evils, they almost came out pretty close to, like, within a year apart of one another. So, like, I feel like with technology, you want to take your time, but here we are in a brand new era. It's crazy.
Makes me wonder, too, since they're doing 2 and 3 back to back, if they're going to continue and if we're actually going to get more remakes. I personally want to see the story progress as well. I am looking forward to Resident Evil 8 and what that has to offer, but it makes me curious, like, are we going to get a Resident Evil Outbreak remake or a Code Veronica Outbreak or Resident Evil 4 Outbreak? A lot of people are excited for all those things. I don't know, what would you guys do? Yeah. And if you guys could pick another Outbreak, what would you guys want to see? Yeah, like if you had to pick from those three, what do you think should be remade next?
Outbreak.
Yeah, I feel like since we're in Raccoon City right now, and they completely remade the city, it looks fantastic. It's like, why not go back to those characters and revisit that, or even just tell more stories within Raccoon City? I think that would be awesome. I think though, if they do decide to remake another one, I'm pretty sure they probably wouldn't. They would probably go with Code Veronica, which I would be completely happy with.
I think that was too. As much as I want Outbreak, I think Veronica's do too.
Code Veronica got the shaft because a lot of people didn't buy that Dreamcast back in the day.
Yeah, the HD version they put out wasn't great. So
yeah,
it was with the RE engine and Code Veronica. There's a lot there.
Definitely.
Yeah. For me, my thoughts on RE3, it's my actual favorite. Nice of you to show up, girls. Appreciate it.
Got 801 back there.
801 back.
They're my friends. It's okay. I can treat them like crap like that. No, I love it. No, yeah, Resident Evil 3 has always been my favorite Resident Evil of the entire franchise. I like the fact that it still remained horror, but it put a little more emphasis on action and fear with that nemesis just, charging you, or, Dr. Dick Hands, as I call him. I mean, come on.
This is
All right, I'm not the only one
family
thinking it, okay? But no, it's just, I'm excited for it from what we've seen so far, a little bit of gameplay, a lot of cinematics, but honestly, I was impressed by 2. There are, nitpicks a lot of people have about 2, and I think that's with any game, but I have faith that Capcom's been back on track for a long time, aside from the fighting game division. But man, they're really killing it with everything. All the games are pumping out in 3, so I'm just happy to see everything.
Extremely disappointed they're not here.
Yeah, that would have been awesome to
I
see them.
know.
I've been to quite a few of these, and they always came with big setups, and you got to check everything out, and they're not here when we're here.
Well, at least, we're still here to do some
Just
Resident
saying,
Evil stuff
I've never
with
seen
Nick.
Capcom and us in the same room.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's just give it up real quick to Capcom.
Yes.
Any Capcom fans out there, they've been giving us hardcore entertainment for about 3 decades.
Yeah.
Me personally, I've been playing Mega Man since I was 5 years old. Here's to Capcom.
Bob and Corey, what do you feel about the Resident Evil 3 remake?
Okay, as far as stuff that we haven't seen in the trailer yet, you guys hear me okay?
Hey, a little closer.
Okay. As far as what we haven't seen in the trailer yet, what I'm looking forward to the most in the game is the stuff that hasn't been in the previous game, like little added notes and details that extrapolate on the lore and stuff. Because I don't want just a reskin game. Here's everything you already have. Here's more stuff that wasn't explained in the first game, more stuff that you didn't know about, like kind of what they did with Kendo and Marvin and stuff like that in the RE2 remake.
Yeah, so like an expansion on Mikhail, Nikolai, all that.
Yeah, stuff like that. So more information on them. So I mean, as long as they do it well and don't ruin the characters in my mind.
Yeah.
And they did a fantastic job with that in Resident Evil 2, that it's reassuring to see that they're taking these old characters, even ones like Kendo, who didn't really play a big role, to me, one of my favorite characters. And then they, give them that backstory, and Marvin, the acting, like how deep that was. Well, everybody wanted to see more. I'm pretty sure everybody wanted more DLC for Resident Evil 2 because these characters were so much more in depth that we wanted to see more stories told within that universe. I think something would have been really cool to kind of see the events between the outbreak and when Leon and Claire come to Raccoon City. But I think now with Resident Evil 3, they have the opportunity to really capitalize on that. Maybe we'll get to see Jill meet Carlos in the RPD, which would be different, and then she bumps into Marvin. I think that opens up a lot more story possibilities, and we can get some of that outbreak story back. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, it would. I would like to see Marvin show up at 3 a lot, because I really enjoyed his performance in 2 remake. And I like, they're going back and reestablishing the canon of the lore in the series.
Which is going to take a lot of people off.
But they're giving us more
Yeah.
and the same stuff, but more at the same time, which is awesome.
James, you good?
Yeah.
And Corey, you're the last one. What are your thoughts on RE3?
I'm super stoked for it. It is my favorite game, the original. It's the one I grew up on, the first one I played. I remember being scared crapless with Nemesis coming at you and everything like that. I had to hide the room and stuff. I'm just excited to see a newer take on it, and all the new stuff. I was gonna say, with the character expansion, like he said, to see more of like Brad and all of them.
Oh, we're going to see explicit stuff with him, I bet.
Right?
Seeing that in the RE engine's going to be a NSFW for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure that's already being worked on right now. Would that be ours working on horrible stuff like that?
Probably.
I'm sure.
Players.
Our modding community is probably
Yeah, we're keeping this panel PG-13 though, so we're not going any further than that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. We want to be invited back.
Yeah.
All right, so you heard our thoughts on it and everything. So we've actually got something to make. As you guys know, for the last couple of years, we have teamed up with to make our own survival horror game in the style of the original trilogy of Resident Evil, the fixed camera angles, the graphics, the lighting, the music, and we have a fantastic team. Like the storyboard artist is UNiCOMICS, who actually made the really cool PAX poster that we have here. Hold that up.
You've seen, if you follow the Facebook, you've seen this. We've actually got 2 posters. We got this one from Uni, and we got another one
Oh, yeah.
related to what we're about to show.
Yep, so-
yeah, we're gonna show this and we'll show that.
Yeah,
one.
so yeah, we got
Rest of the team, yeah.
we got like a one hell of a team working on this, and JJ's been pumping in a lot of thoughts to this game, and Bob as well. I've been trying all my ideas, just
Moon
like,
has
well,
been
dude.
working like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Moon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Moon.
okay.
He's the
Okay.
guy that came. He's like, honestly, like Moon Glint, this is the guy who needs to be hired by a gaming company. The passion he puts into developing levels and such, like even like from 8 years ago, he showed me the Street Fighter 2 stage for Ryu with the Sundown. I'm like, dude, like. This is better than anything like Capcom's put out in 5 years, so like Street Fighter 5.
Well, that was before
No, I love
remakes
Capcom.
and
Don't get me wrong. I love
remakes.
Capcom.
Yeah.
I love my fighting games. I'm just mad I'm getting bum fighting games right now. But anyway, no, we have an incredible team, and we got something to show you. This is a first here for you guys. Everybody else will get to see it tomorrow on Sunday. But we have a brand new trailer for Vigil.
Yeah,
Alright.
so we're gonna show that, then we're gonna
Wait,
talk more about
Vigil?
Vigil right after, so okay, let's pull that up.
Let it rip.
Alright, let's do it.
Are they making a Vigil?
You're gonna hear some familiar voices in here, and yeah, let's do it.
State your name, rank, and unit.
John, Captain, Reconnaissance Operations Unit 3.
Alright, John. What was your unit doing on the evening of December 24th, 1984?
We were investigating an anonymous tip that led us to Black Forest.
From the information we gathered, you ran into some trouble along the way. Is this correct?
That's correct. We were driving through a blizzard when a civilian stepped into the road and caused us to swerve. We lost control of the vehicle and crashed.
At this time, you were separated from your team. Correct?
Correct.
Searching for your team led you to Beechworth Manor. Correct?
Correct.
While searching for your team, what exactly did you find?
Vigil.
Not bad.
All right, guys. So you just saw it. That is the first premiere of the new trailer for Vigil. As you can tell, there's like a lot of old school horror in it, and there's a lot of action to it too. We're trying to balance out everything just to make people happy, because we're all obviously getting up there in age now and everything.
Yeah.
Like Jeff's like 40, I'm 35.
The thing with Vigil is we're all very big survival horror fans, and we really love that classic style of fixed camera angles, inventory management, actual survival horror in very rememberable locations. So what we wanted to do, like I said, Capcom's killing it. They're giving us the remakes that we've been wanting for years, but we want to recapture that classic survival horror feel. So that's kind of the
Supposed
goal.
to be tribute to what we all love.
Yeah.
Yep. Silent Hill, Resident Evil, like even like PS2 titles and stuff like that, like Haunting Grounds, like Kuon, all those ones. It's a fun project. It's great, and you tell them like that.
Yeah, I'll go into it. Yeah. Okay, so let me pull this up here. We got a really fantastic render of the Abyss, one of the enemies that you'll see in the game that has a very large role. And this photo was actually done, you can see in the credits there, by Rick the Gaijin, who is a CG artist that works for AAA Games, which thank you so much, Rick, for helping us with this project. Let me see if I can pull this up here a little bigger, but yeah, that's fine.
That is so badass.
I know.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, that's the thing with Vigil is a lot of other people, like you guys, are all big fans of survival horror. And a lot of talented people that work on games have offered to help us with this game, which we're very grateful for. So we're going to go through kind of who's on the team. We got Moon Glint, who is our very talented developer. He is the mastermind behind a lot of the design you see. He's just amazing at environments and everything. We got UNiCOMICS, like you said, who is doing our concept art. He is also doing models in the game, enemies and items. Then we got Rick the Gaijin, like I said, who's helped us with some enemies here. We're going to be showing in a little bit. We'll talk about him too. We got Mono Memory, who I'm sure you guys heard a lot of his Resident Evil remixes on YouTube. He does a lot of other things, but he's got that synth sort of 80s horror. Resident Evil meets John Carpenter's The Thing, which I don't know if you can hear, but from the music in the game, that's kind of what we're really going for. We want to capture that 80s feel with the survival horror in snow, and it's during winter, so it's cold. But yeah, we got Mono Memory who's doing the music. And what else do we got here? We got the Sphere Hunter, Susie. I don't know if you guys know her channel, but that was her doing the title call there. And then another voice you could hear in there was Nick Apostolides.
So man, I was doing the interviewing at the beginning.
Interrogating me. But yeah, so a lot of people have offered to help, and this project has really started as sort of a passion project, just a fun idea on Resident Evil, and quickly became so much more than we ever expected. We put the first kind of teaser on there where we were saying we were working on a game, and it blew up, like more than we expected. A lot of people were excited for this. So we went back now after that to the drawing board, and we're like, okay, a lot of people want to see this. There's a lot of potential here. We have a lot of very talented people working on it. We need to make a game that is very reminiscent of classic survival horror, but it's its own thing. So in the trailer you see, a lot of it does look like Resident Evil, but the story, the things that we don't want to spoil, it's going to take a few turns, and it's going to be something new and interesting, and it's made by fans for fans.
That's the thing. It's the Resident Evil and the survival horror fan base and communities. People are pulling together as a group project. It's not just us anymore. There's so many people outside of us that are jumping on board to help bring this into fruition, to bring this game to the fan base as something to play. And it's only going to grow more. There are opportunities in the future for this game, and it's still early stages. So what you're seeing is still early concepts, but you get a feel of what it's like, and it's pretty awesome to see everyone come together for this.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually, especially the community, because we guys check the Twitters and the Facebook and everything like that whenever something new Vigil comes up. Plus, anytime we stream, you guys are always asking about Vigil. That just shows you how passionate you guys are as much as we are. It's great because it's feedback we need, and you guys have been telling us hey, what if you put this in here or something like this, and we thank you for that feedback. That stuff is great. Just
definitely.
Yeah, I just love the passion you guys give to us. It's great.
Yeah,
so give yourselves a round of applause, guys. Come on.
Thank you. That's one reason why we wanted to announce it so early. And not a lot of companies do this. It was because we said in the original video that we're making a survival horror game for fans by fans. So we took a lot of your feedback, which a lot of your constructive criticisms, and a lot of you guys had some really cool ideas, and we've adapted what we think fits our story best in the game. Just to we wanted to work on it with you guys. We can't do everything that everybody wants, but it was something that I feel like survival horror fans really want, and yeah, so it's been great. It's like we're all building it together. Passion project for all of us.
What's your timeline? When would you love to have this out?
Well, it's want to make a game? Yeah, that sounds cool. And then once you start making a game, you're like, oh wow, there's a lot going on.
It's really hard.
Yeah. So we've learned a lot since we started. We've learned how to be, I guess, how do I want to put it? We have a really well-established system now to where we're making really good progress. And at first we were all over the place. We were like, where do we even start? And when some of these really talented people that worked on games came and started talking and advising, they really kind of helped craft our development process. And so now we're definitely working faster than we've ever worked before, and we're making a lot of progress. But it's still one developer who is being helped by modelers. But so it's gonna be a little while. This game is not coming out soon. I would say if I had to put a time on it, I'd say probably 2 years, maybe a little less than 2 years.
Bob just told me it's gonna be tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I forgot, man. That's deadline.
Let me ask you this, guys. If anyone is out here in the audience and they want to do this and get into game developing, what would be your advice to them?
That's a good one.
What have you learned along the way? I'm sure you've had some lessons.
Yeah, I mean, I never imagined that I would be kind of seeing a development of a survival horror game. Just being a fan, loving Resident Evil, loving other survival horror games, it's mind-blowing. And that's one thing that I think everybody has the potential to do. Just I just started making videos talking about what I was passionate about just for fun, and it led to the YouTube channel, it led to the team, it led to all of the friends we've met, and it led to a lot of other passionate fans that reach out and say, hey, what do you think about making a game? Like with Moon, he was working on a Resident Evil fan game, and it looked fantastic, but he didn't have a story, and so I pitched the idea to him, and yeah, he was on board, and that's kind of how it started. But it's as simple as, oh, I don't want to say simple, but it's anybody can do it. You know, if you're really passionate, it just goes to show that you can, like, there's talent out there with the power of the internet. You can kind of all come together with living across the world and actually make your dreams happen. So it's really cool to do. As I would just say my advice, long story, but just if you're driven and passionate about it, yeah, just do it. Just like find
anything
time.
else. You know,
Yeah.
when it comes to anything else, man, anything you're passionate about, you just go for it, you know. And game development, I mean, obviously we're all gamers in here and everything, right? So we have kind of a basic understanding on how like stories go and flow and all that. So just do all the research you can. The world is way more open. Like if this was like, you know, back in the 80s, you didn't know how to get into this stuff.
No.
There was no YouTube. No one told you how to get into this development type deal.
It's like all the tools are at your disposal
Yeah.
now with the internet. And
College, you know, community colleges, you know, friggin' YouTube. Like,
Yeah.
like half the people that I've met that are photographers, they learned from YouTube. They didn't go to school for it, which I wish I had done that back in the day. But no, overall, it's just like if you're passionate about it, just get an idea, go with it, and just run with it. And if the idea is good, something could develop. I'm not gonna say like every idea is gonna like work out and stuff. I don't want to be one of those guys who preaches that you gotta do hard. But you know what? You just gotta do it. And if you fail, you fail. Learn from
Well,
it, experience, and grow.
the thing is, like, too, like I said, and it relates to the YouTube channel as well, is if it's something you enjoy doing and it's not really going anywhere, you're still enjoying doing it, you know, like it's still your passion. And it's you won't be, I guess, disappointed if it doesn't work out because you're still doing what you enjoy doing, I guess I would say.
Yeah, you're not setting that bar so high you can't reach it.
Yeah, another thing that we learned, experiences making the video games is as you're putting out the updates of your project, learn the difference between constructive criticism and people trying to change your vision. So, like, take the feedback, like, as was it is. Don't get mad that people don't like it. They might just be trying to help. And never change your vision of what you actually want it to be. Because as soon as it stops being fun for you to make, it becomes work, and that's how a lot of projects fall apart, is because it's not something you want to do anymore. You're making it to please people, not to please yourself. That's something that we learned along the way, and that we came back true to what our vision is.
100%, yeah. Visual's a lot of work, but everybody enjoys doing it, and as soon as things get stressful, then we just gotta take a step back and look at it and be like, are we having fun? Is this what we wanna do? And then that puts things back in perspective.
Yeah, it gets harder to work on it when you're just doing it because someone told you to do it this way instead of this is what you wanted to do originally, then the ideas just flow. Just like story writing for authors and stuff like that, so.
Yeah.
And also be willing to adapt to change.
Yeah.
Because like when you start developing like our original idea, like it was crazy. The original,
The original idea was literally a parody of Resident Evil, and then when we put the video, people were like, yeah, they're like ripping off Resident Evil. It's like, well, we had some original ideas, but you're kind of not wrong. We need to make our own thing. There's potential here to do what we want to do.
Once the larger, population by a couple sites sharing our first initial trailer, just a quick, hey, this is an idea, blew up. We're like, we might want to tone back on our
Yeah, this is
parody a little
1996.
bit.
We can't cheese it up that
It was
bad
pretty
anymore.
far out there.
But we're still keeping like we do want to keep it like that 80s feel.
Yeah.
We want some humor in it.
It's
Like
gonna have,
take it seriously at times and not too seriously at other times. We have, the ROE Team is going to be in it, so you've seen the RO3. It's just, it's going to have our personalities. It's going to have our humor, but it's also going to have some enemies and they're pretty terrifying, and then a really in-depth story that has some really good lore. And I think, lore is world building. That's really important to a game.
Yeah.
So we have some other pictures here, so you can see the Abyss. Like I said,
About the Abyss, that's our other poster we have.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
We have posters of that too.
yeah.
Now, unfortunately, these
A little dark.
didn't print as well as that looks. They came out a little bit dark, but hey, it's something. And we're giving out these posters to Q&A.
Yeah.
If you come up and ask a question, you're guaranteed a poster. We'll sign it if you want it, especially Nick.
Yep.
And then,
Any leftovers are first come,
yeah,
first
whatever
served.
we have left over will be
Fight
first
over
come,
'em.
first served.
Everything.
So that's guaranteed, whichever poster you want.
Like
Yeah.
I said, we were expecting 10 people, and so we
Yeah.
undershot
That's
the bar a
amazing,
little bit.
Yeah, I'm still blown away by that.
Yeah, and so also some more things on Vigil. We'll talk about it a little bit more, and then we'll open up.
we'll open up.
Yeah, we'll open up Q&A for Vigil, and then after that Q&A, we'll go back to some Resident Evil talk. So right now we got the Abyss, and it's tough too because you want to talk about what you're working on, but at the same time you gotta like not reveal too much. But there's that character. Here we have the Elder, which is enemy that's much more. If I had to compare it to another enemy, I would say like the Alien. It's a predator, and it's very difficult to kill. Goes down on all fours. It's quick. You've seen glimpses of it in the trailer. That was another one that was designed by Rick. And then so we got those two high-res renders of those. And then now we are also working on the Row Hub. That's going to be, so this is something we want to do with the development process. We've been dropping our demos, which are basically just to see where we're at in development and get your hands on the game to try it. But they're changing. It's kind of annoying downloading multiple versions and then having to reboot it up and install everything. So we're going to put in the RO3 Hub, and it's basically our offices, our headquarters. And in the Row Hub, we plan to have like our offices you can explore. It's sort of like a little bit of a tutorial on the mechanics of the game.
The individual offices are unique to us.
Yes.
So you'll see some things that us as our personalities that you've come to know will be unique to that specific office, but you're going to be able to walk and explore and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it's going to be like its own mini game / tutorial / place to hang out while we're developing Vigil, so you can check status updates on what we're working on. There'll be like a shooting range where you can test our weapons. There'll be UNiTech where you can test experimental weapons on different creatures in like the testing facility. You can see some offices here, and then another one here. But basically, what it's going to be is as we drop more updates. You're going to go over to the archives room and load up those updates so you can kind of test them that way. And then down the road, we plan on having other files or other operations that the ROE Team has been on that you can, play, not just like Vigil, but, like I said, long-term here, but other games that take place within our universe we're building. It doesn't have to be, I don't want to say what the enemies are in our game. They're not zombies, but it doesn't have to be that. It can be anything that, we've seen over the years in survival horror, maybe something new. So. A lot of work, but it's really shaping out really cool.
Extended Row universe.
Yeah.
The Rowverse.
The Rowverse.
Eat your heart out, Mark.
So, JJ, where can people go to get their hands on like this stuff, like the row demos and stuff as of right now?
As of right now, we have a website, vigilgame.com. We also have updates on our social media. Once this RO3 Hub is finished, we will announce it on our social media, and then that's where you're going to go to get all the updates on the game.
To vigilgame.com.
Yep.
Yes.
Can I be in the full game?
What's that?
Can I be in the full game? Not just
Hell
the
yeah,
demo?
you can be. Definitely.
Right.
You heard it here.
Racking up the credits.
Hope you can afford them.
Yeah, now when I start calling you and bugging you, everybody heard it. You have to be in it.
My line's here.
That's cool too, though. Like, there's other people that have offered to do voices in the game, which I don't know. It's been a really cool throwback to classic Resident Evil games and other things.
Might seem intentionally bad voice acting at times.
Yeah,
like
because we're terrible voice actors, but
Well, thank God we're terrible.
on purpose. We're by no means professionals. He's the only one that's going to sound good. But yeah, we can open it up for questions. If any of you guys have any questions on Vigil, we will, like I said, if you ask a question, we'll give you a poster here, and then you can come up and get it signed if you'd like.
Just been, or just want to open it up to?
Well,
Let's
okay.
Yeah, so we'll open up the floor, like any questions at all, survival horror about the team, anything else that we like, questions for Nick, anybody. You guys can come on up and ask a question.
Yeah, when you have a question, you can just head up over here to the mic. There's mics there. Head up to a mic and ask a question. Point up to the files. Don't attack each other.
After your question, come up here, get your poster, and then whatever's left is fair game. Just do it orderly, don't hurt each other.
Yeah.
Or us. This, right now, it's just people asking the questions.
Alright, so,
We'll go right and left, so if you want to make 2 lines.
Yeah, and then we'll give you a poster, and then at the end you can come and get it signed.
We start with Leon over here.
Yeah, Leon. Leon, what's going on?
Leon, you have a question for Leon?
Leon Legend.
I have a question for your game.
Sure.
So what was the inspiration for the boss? What was the name again?
Well, we haven't revealed the boss yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the original inspiration?
Holding the chair, holding the.
Oh, okay. What was the inspiration for that? Well, I don't I don't think it really took inspiration from anywhere. It was just like kind of a character that we thought would be really cool. We were kind of looking at how that character would play and how its mechanics would be in the game. We didn't really have a way to tie it into the story a while back. We just thought, hey, this is cool, but we need to adapt it and fit it into the game. And as time progressed, we were like sort of like crafting this character, and fitting it in. It actually fit in perfectly with the lore we eventually got down. So it wasn't really like we were inspired by anything for it necessarily. It was just it seemed like a cool character, and then that cool character fit really well with the story and added a whole new level to Vigil that I think is going to, like I said, another reason why it looks like Resident Evil, but it's separated. Like this is its own different story, and there's a lot.
We definitely wanted to go with something that was a little bit different and memorable. We wanted to kind of it just looks like another tyrant. Okay, well, no, we wanted to make it stand out and be its own thing.
She looks
originally in our parody version, they were spaghetti monsters.
Spaghetti monsters.
It was like all cheese, man. The ultimate 80s cheese, dude. Like, it was crazy what we had planned. And that's the thing. Like when you start out stuff, it's never gonna stay the same thing. You're gonna evolve with it, and you realize, okay, this was a dumb idea. It's like one of those things where it's good at the time, then you realize, we need to make some changes, boys.
Think about it at 3 a.m. when everything's funny, this is going, and that's hilarious. Then you're like, you wake up the next day, it's like, that's stupid. Why would I think of that?
Oh yeah. All right, you want to come get a poster? Thank you for that question, man.
Poster, and then we'll jump on the next line here.
This is a question for Vigil.
Yeah.
Will there be any like interactable like companions and or wildlife in the game?
Wildlife?
Yeah, like animals or creatures.
Yeah, no, that was one thing.
Like more creatures that you wouldn't expect to see in like that hasn't been in per se like a Resident Evil game.
You mean other than just like monster enemy types, like just like deer or wildlife?
Yes. Yeah, that was one thing. I guess kind of tying in with Resident Evil 7. I thought it was a step back in the right direction. Say what you will about the game, doesn't really matter too well. But the enemies I felt didn't have the variety, and there's so many more cool ideas they could have did with that. With the like infected alligators, infected wildlife, and now we have the winter, the north. Like we got bears, we got wolves, and like if we don't utilize all that, then it just feels stale. So it's like, why not take what your thing is and then just kind of adapt that to what would happen in that environment? So yes, I think that's going to be really important, and that's going to be something to keep it interesting going on. One thing with Resident Evil 2 is they had a really wide variety of enemies. And I think that's kind of something that made it special as well. Everything had its own way of interacting and with, and their attacks and a variety. I think variety is important.
Yeah, same thing with Silent Hill too. There was such a good variety in the monster base that it never felt stale at all ever playing those games.
Yeah.
Until later in the series, but and Resident Evil does the same thing. They have a good variety of their enemy types, and that's what we want to bring to it too, to keep you on your feet and keep you interested.
Okay. Yeah, one last thing on that. We were trying to fit it in the trailer, but we ran out of time. But we were working on a bear. So we're definitely going to get a bear in there.
Yeah,
It's going to be a bear.
Lions,
Thanks
tigers.
for your question.
Oh my.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump back to the other line.
All right.
Was it hard to come up with a plot for the story?
Yes, it was very difficult. And that's like one thing that, like I said, a lot of people will realize that if you do end up getting to a point where you're going to work on your own game, is you have an idea and you think you've got it figured out, but when you get into actually fleshing that out and making sure it fits with the lore and what you're trying to build, there's a lot to it. It all fell in place, and we're really happy with the way it turned out. But yeah, it's difficult. It's something that takes time.
Yeah, the initial ideas was a little bit easy, but then the refinement took time to get to where we are now.
All right. Sleepless man hours.
All right, thank you for that question.
All right, you're up.
So unfortunately, Leon took my question for you guys.
Oh, you can ask it again.
But I have a backup for Nick. But first, I gotta admit, I've never heard of y'all before this panel. But I love Resident Evil, so you just made a new fan. Like,
awesome. That's awesome.
Sweet.
I love what you guys are doing, so that's amazing. But Nick, I have a question for you, and
What's
the
up?
second part is for you guys. Feel free to say no to the second part. But Nick, your performance in Resident Evil 2 was fantastic. What was your favorite part while, I guess, filming for the game? And is there any way that I can take a picture with you all?
Yeah, we'll
Oh, hell yeah.
We're gonna hang out after.
Yeah, for sure.
Do some signatures, take some pictures. So.
Question is like my favorite scene of filming or favorite moment
Let's
in
go
the
for
process.
scene. Yeah.
My favorite scene, filming wise, I think would have to be in the gun shop. He puts down his daughter. That's gut wrenching. And filming that scene, it was very emotional on set. very quiet, somber mood, and that just sums up like everything that Resident Evil is to me. I've been playing it for 23 years, all these games, and that scene when we were watching it be captured, it was just, everyone was just in a weird mood because it was so somber. And so I like that one, and also when Leon confronts Ada at the end on the catwalk is a really dynamic scene. It kind of has its own roller coaster, and that was one of the last ones we did. And it just, again, that like Leon's arc in the story comes full circle right then, because he realizes what kind of hell she just put him through, and he's had enough. And there was an interesting way that we filmed that, and I think those two scenes for me were very special.
Yeah, and props to Jolene as well. You guys were amazing in that scene.
Jolene, who played Ada, she's a fantastic actress, and she gives a lot in her scenes, and so yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. All right.
All right, thanks for that question.
Yeah. Welcome to the family.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome to the road.
Hashtag roll call.
Roll call.
Roll call. Go for it.
What's up, boys?
Hey, guys.
Here.
Hey.
So you can find us and everything like that. Thanks, dude.
If anyone wants a business
Same
card,
thing
they
here.
come up, just ask.
New fan?
New fan as well.
Yeah.
For a few months. And,
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice shirt.
Yeah.
Same thing, Jay. I didn't recognize you at first, but then I recognized the voice.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, that's him, I know him.
Yeah.
But my question is to Nick. It's a big role to fill in for Leon. How did you get in the zone of, hey, this is a big role, it's my turn to take the part?
That was a tough one because I've been playing Leon's characters with his actors all my life, and there was a lot of pressure. I knew there was big shoes to fill, and I had a little bit of there was anxiety. I just wanted to be welcomed into that family amongst all these incredible actors, and I really I leaned back on Capcom for that because they kept reassuring me. They said, "Listen, if you like our games, trust us. We do a good job for a reason." They said, "Trust us, we cast you for a reason. In our eyes, you hold the essence of a young Leon, so just be yourself and don't do anything crazy." And so that's what I did. So I just trusted myself and my gut every single time I showed up on set. And the reception from the fans has been pretty damn positive, so I'm very, very thankful for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Given that the original Resident Evil was designed with a constrained set of dynamics, with Vigil, would you consider implementing an emergent narrative through embedded or aggregate meaning?
I missed the last part of that.
With Vigil, would you consider implementing an emergent narrative either with embedded or aggregate meaning?
Are you saying like choices you make in the game will affect the overall story? Is that what you're asking?
Well, that would be meaning, an embedded meaning. With an aggregate meaning, you would allow the player to continuously interact with low-level gameplay systems that will then propagate to the higher level, creating continuous feedback loop. Well, it's something that Clint Hawking calls unified player agency.
That's something we haven't really considered yet, but that's
Well, since it's 2 years off.
Yeah.
There's still
a lot of time to work on that. But yeah, we'll talk more about that. It's just a term that I am not familiar with, but it's definitely something we could definitely work on.
Yeah, that's a good question. Really.
Yeah,
sure.
And I have just
Thanks for
one
breaking my
question for
head.
Nick, if I may.
Yeah.
Given that the Capcom is headquartered in Japan, and the script probably passed a lot of translations, and I imagine the Japanese representative was present during the recording sessions. Was there any friction between the Japanese side and the English director?
This was actually written by an American.
Oh.
They wanted that because they wanted to feel very, very American and Western. Of course, they had to okay everything, and we made a lot of changes on the fly. And every single line that we suggested we say another way, we would have to explain to the Japanese that it's a cool thing to say in America. They didn't understand our slang, and they still don't. But if we said, listen, this is what people say, this is how we talk in these situations, they would say, okay. And so it was really interesting. I've worked on many projects as an actor. This was the first one that had to go through like translations in 2 different languages, so it was really fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We're gonna try to keep it to one question per person because we're on a time limit here.
Yeah.
So we're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
try to
Yeah,
get through as
we're-
many as we can, as quick as we can.
Yep.
If we're not able to get to all of you, we're
We
sorry.
want to try to make sure we answer everybody.
Understood.
Oh,
Hey,
you're
this
good.
is Reapers, commander of the UC SAT, San Antonio Corporation Division.
Right. You guys killed it. You guys was awesome.
I've already asked this question before on your live streams, but I'm gonna ask it again since I see you.
Go for it.
Question. Out of each STARS member, Alpha and Bravo, which STARS member had the worst death ever?
I did answer this in a stream, so I'm gonna give mine real quick, and then you guys can answer it. I said Forrest, he got pecked to death, and that's pretty brutal, man. I don't know, he got wrecked by crows. It's a bad way to go out.
I'm gonna say Richard because he trusted Rebecca.
What about you, Nick?
I would agree. Forrest got it pretty bad. I'm with Forrest. That's my vote.
For me personally, I actually kind of feel it's Richard because he got devoured, like, well, depending which version it is and stuff. Like, he got devoured by a snake, man. He was still alive for a good while. Like,
Dark, man.
oh yeah, the shark,
Or
yeah.
shark.
Yeah, oh my god, that's so great.
I'm gonna have to go with Forrest. There's like some countries that use getting eaten alive by birds as torture for a reason. So that is metal. So,
I know where your
like
mind's at.
get ripped apart by a little hex at a time. That's rough.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, Forrest, it's the only way. I mean,
Yeah,
Forrest
Forrest.
won.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
All right, good question, man.
Unless you're claustrophobic on the snake, but
Yeah. I'm sure.
All you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What up, get posted, man?
Hey, new fan as well.
Welcome.
I was just curious what you guys think about the S.D. Perry novels.
Oh, we love them.
Yeah,
They
they're
should be
fantastic.
canon. That should have been the movies.
I actually was doing readings on our channel. I got the first 2 chapters done, and then I wasn't able to do it where I
Get
was
on it,
previously.
Bob.
But I'm going to be getting back into that this year.
That kind of did give a lot of background to other characters who didn't have anything at the time. Like, they kind of just like let it go.
The other thing is she fleshed out a lot of details that you can't really explain in a game, and it gave it potential if there was ever to be like a live action series based off of it. They would have source material.
And her in between books that were, side stories that weren't related to the games, I thought were awesome. They were really cool concepts that I would have loved to have seen make their way into the actual games.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Chris and Forrest, they were like, friendly rivals out on the Force because Forrest was the best sniper and then next to Chris.
Yeah.
So like they had that, like he was like a wild Southern boy, and she did that really well. I
And
think
the
Westeros
backstories.
wrote a little weird.
The backstories, like giving Joe the
time
backstory.
period.
would be
Yeah,
good.
he was kind of cheesy anyway. So
All right.
yeah,
Thanks for the
Thank
question.
you. Thank you.
yeah.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Another new kid right here.
Awesome.
You already? Yeah. I'm gonna consider possibly crowdfunding as a way to help speed the development process of your digital.
Yes, 100%.
Oh, really?
Wait, what was it? How we-
Talk about crowdfunding.
Yeah,
That's something we're kind of
that's
working with right now.
something. Okay, just real quick on that. I do feel like, and everybody that has been working on Vigil feels like there's a lot of potential, but it is a big project, and something like crowdfunding would 100% help. And it's very worthwhile, but it's all about setting it up, making sure people are getting a proper return for their investment, and just doing it properly. So it's something that we're going to visit in the future, but right now, if anybody wants to support Vigil, you can head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/Road Network, and that's one small way of us helping give you something for your very gracious donations, and all that helps a ton, because building a game ain't cheap. So thank you.
Our idea is to give Vigil away for free. So
Yeah, we still intend to have this for free.
Yeah, we want to put it out, like I said, game for the community. By the community, we want it to be free.
Yeah, but Moon is he's the only person working on the actual gameplay part of it.
Yeah.
We would like to help support him with the team, but that takes funding. So it is something we're seriously considering.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, next slide.
I got a question for Nick. How did you get involved with the Resident Evil remake? Like, how did you learn? Like, when did you learn about the casting for Leon Kennedy?
Well, they just put a casting online, a public casting call, which they almost never do for video games. I didn't have an agent. I just happened to see this, and it just said Resident Evil 2. And because the game already came out, years, like 2 decades ago, I thought it, like quickly at a glance, that it was a fan film or some kind of short film that fans do. So I submitted anyways, and I just said, hey, huge fan, I would love to audition for Leon. And then when I got the audition, the actual audition notice, I looked at it closer, and it was like the remake, motion capture Leon, you know, like 10 weeks of work or 12 weeks of work, and I flipped out because I can't believe that they actually announced it online, which they shouldn't have done. I still to this day don't know why they did, because these games are very secretive, and no one knew about this game. But anyways, so I submitted. I had about, over the course of 4 weeks, I had 3 auditions, and then it just came down to it, and they offered me the role, and then I just crumbled into a little wet puddle, and I went on from there.
I'm pretty sure it was your destiny.
Yeah.
Well, I like to think that, because a lot of things lined up that maybe shouldn't have, and the timing was like uncanny with everything, and so I don't know if you believe in fate or whatever, but it's just my favorite franchise in my entire life.
I mean,
and it just worked out.
How cool is that our Leon Kennedy is also a fan of Resident Evil 2. Like, a lot of voice actors, you know, that's their job. But this is something you're very passionate about, and I think that really shows in the character.
Yeah.
Just by you being here with us, like, that's huge.
Well, thanks. But I do want to also quickly add that all of this didn't come without the support of friends and key people in my life. And there was this one person, I had never auditioned for vocab before, or a video game. This is my very first one. And I was freaking out a bit. I didn't know what to expect in the first audition. And a friend of mine she's been in maybe 35 games. That's her career. And she said with motion capture and video games, don't forget that it is like the wild, wild west. It doesn't matter how many movies you've been in, how many games you've been in, it doesn't matter. She said, if you are right for the role and you can perform that role, you can get that job. And this was a biggie, obviously. This wasn't a tiny game, this is a giant one. And so with advice like that and help from certain friends, and the support of everyone around me, that's how it happened.
Cool. Thank you for that question.
Right, jump over there, so.
Marty.
What's going on, guys? My name's Emilio. I've been a Rogue fan for a couple of years now, and
Awesome.
you guys have always been, so supportive and open with the community and everything. So just a really quick comment. Thank you guys so much for everything you do, bringing us all together like that.
Thank you, man. It's you guys that make all this possible. Thank you.
Clearly, we didn't pay him. He bought that shirt himself.
You can pick up his hoodie
Get
on
your
ours
20
at
bucks
ProXY.com.
So my question for you guys is, in the original Resident Evil 3, we saw the UBCS pretty much get decimated,
Right.
in the intro, and throughout the whole game we just saw their bodies, everywhere.
Beautiful.
With the new remake, it looks like we're seeing a lot more tactical deployment and gameplay with them. Is there anything in particular that you want to see from the UBCS?
I want to see how Mikhail gets injured, and if you go back to the SD Perry books, that was from Nikolai. And I think there's a lot from when they enter Raccoon City and up until that point that could be told. So I think because it's obviously they're going to add to the story to increase the length of it, I think having that extra UBCS moments would really benefit the game a ton, and it's something I definitely want to see.
Yeah, I don't want them to just be cannon fodder guys, just to be eliminated easily. I want them to have a little bit of a story to them and give them some time in the game for us to connect, so that when they are killed off, it's a little more impactful. And I want to see definitely Nikolai, some of the behind the scenes stuff that he was doing.
Yeah.
And see his shadiness and all that.
Well, as much as Operation Raccoon City ain't canon, he was everywhere in that.
Yeah, apparently.
And Outbreak.
Yeah.
And so, that's the thing. I mean, they from what they've shown off already, they've got guys like, Murphy's got that wound on his leg and everything like that. Tyrell Patrick's in the STARS office with at that newest trailer when Carlos is talking to Jill and says, yeeted the car.
Yeet the car.
And so I think much like how RE2 went, I think we're gonna see a lot of development from those characters we only saw for a couple of seconds in the original. And that's something I think I'm looking forward to a lot.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Jump back over.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're interested in the hoodies that we're wearing or they're wearing, or Marty's wearing, you can get it at coswares.com. You can use the promo code ROE 10% off to get 10% off the entire store. They have Resident Evil merch there too that sells out pretty quickly. So when it's there, get it while you can. It's pretty high quality.
We leave it to Bob to
I'm
sell
the
merch.
company sellout, so
He's a sellout.
But-
Dude, this man, I want to say, this man, he's not a sellout, he's a legend on this channel. This man has destroyed himself, day in and day out when it comes to the streams, man. This is for Toys for Tots, for when my family was going through a hard time, this man literally puked spaghetti into the snow.
Bob spaghetti, 14 bowls of spaghetti.
But since we're running low on our time here, we got about 11 minutes left. We might not get to everyone that has questions.
We'll try to
Anyone that
follow through.
wants a poster, get in line now. The first people in line to get the posters. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Next
I'd say,
question. Wait.
posters you said?
Yeah, just so they can
I
get
guess
them.
line up off to the side so that we can block.
We'll go through
Yeah,
questions.
try to get
and
through
then-
everybody as we can right now. We'll get everybody with the posters. So line up on the, like, right there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, if you want a poster or anything like that, line up right over there.
And
Cool.
right? Questions?
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, good to go.
Yeah, sorry.
I was gonna ask, I don't know if y'all have seen the Resident Evil 2 board game, but would y'all perhaps consider doing like a live stream of that, or like a let's play of that?
Yeah, I have it. Yeah.
I was on call with you when you
It took a little while to set up, but when we got it going, it was a lot of fun. It's something that we want to stream to the Twitch at some point, so I can't promise when, but yes, it's definitely something we want to play. We had a lot of fun playing it.
And if you guys don't know, we don't live next to each other.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've ever met in person.
All
in
of
the
us.
last 3 years, we're all around the country.
Yeah.
Everything we do is online together.
Except
so
for these three.
if he's playing a board game, it's probably going to be with Bob and Corey down there.
Yeah.
So either way, you're gonna get prime entertainment.
Yeah. Coach from Boston, Ollie's Colorado, and we're from Upper Michigan. So.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question,
Yeah.
man. Get a
But I
poster.
remember when they were putting it out, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, you want to go here?
Hi guys.
Hello.
So I've known Jeff since I was in diapers. He's basically been like a big brother to me ever since we were kids.
Yep.
And he was the one who introduced me into the genre of horror and games and everything. And my love for them started growing as he did. And seeing his passion and his absolute love towards the games and seeing where he is now is absolutely amazing. And it makes me feel and see where you guys were when you were young and how you felt when the games were coming out and stuff. So how does it feel to be a part of the legacy that you are doing right now?
It's
hard to explain.
It really is crazy. Just this weekend, it keeps hitting me. It's like, the numbers are numbers. We don't ever really try and focus on the numbers. We focus on the community. And being here, being involved, and people just recognizing us and just showing how much they love what we do.
Yeah, definitely.
It's amazing. It's
Very
really,
surreal.
it's amazing. Yeah, it's surreal.
Very
And we're honored to be able to bring this together for everyone. It's not about us, it's always been about the community. So, and just because we're the people at the front right now, but we're only in the front because of all of you.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you all. Can we give it up for?
Thank you.
And then, he met Tony and Ali through other fan pages, and we kind of just joined together into this thing that it is now. And it's just the community coming together, which was the vision of Residents of Evil from the entire time. So we're not lying when it says that it's fans of the community that's built this channel.
For sure. So thank you for that question. All right.
Yes, hi. I'm just wanting to have a question about the inventory system from RE Remake with Real Survival Mode, where you had you can only go to certain inventory boxes where you drop off, say like a key item, you can only go back to that certain.
Oh yeah, they're not connected.
They're not connected at all.
Yeah.
Were we I was kind of expecting that to be in RE2 Remake with hardcore mode. Would you guys would have liked that in RE2 Remake, or maybe have that included in hardcore mode for RE3 Remake?
Yeah, I think
that's a really good point. I like that.
That's an interesting way to play it. It expands the replayability, and that's what classic Resident Evil games are known for, is replayability. So anything that helps expand that, I think is that would be awesome.
That'd be great.
This is the survival part.
Yeah,
Actually think about what you're doing.
Speed bump speedrunners a little bit. It trips them up. It's like they have to think a little bit more. Like, I can't come back for this, or I have 3 seconds to come back to this box to get this because I'm going to need this later. It's pre-planned. So I mean, more than just okay, I can speed run this game in 43 minutes because I have everything in every box. Other than it adds a little more pre-planning and stuff like that. So.
All right. Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
What's up?
If someone were to make a D&D version of Resident Evil that took you through the whole Twin City incident, would you guys play it?
I think
Damn
they
right.
actually
There is,
That's your territory.
I think they actually were working on a tabletop Resident Evil game there. Yeah, I'm a big D&D fan myself, sorry. But yeah, I would definitely look into it. I would definitely play it for sure.
I don't want to play it. I don't want to be the RPG janitor. That's my character.
Oh great, we're never gonna fix that.
Oh, you guys are
I'm
gonna
gonna do
die.
All right, thank you for that
Thank you,
question.
appreciate that. Awesome. You got my friend?
Hello.
Hey.
So my question is about Vigil. Obviously, heavily inspired by Resident Evil and survival horror and things like that. Are there any other games that specifically maybe you drew inspiration from in designing the game? or maybe the setting?
Yes.
Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. Until Dawn's snowy atmosphere was huge.
Until Dawn, yeah.
We thought that the winter cold and that this little snowfall was definitely added to the atmosphere of the game.
Probably some Silent Hill elements to it.
A little bit, yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
Misty,
the story-based stuff.
I see that.
Like
The Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Resident Evil, I mean, you can't tell, but.
we took we took
For me, setting is like a big part of me.
Yeah, like we want to keep like it's like because atmosphere is what made the old games.
Yeah, ambiance is the reason people remember the game.
that music.
That
and
is,
music,
those are
yeah,
big, those are almost bigger than the story elements themselves.
They're huge.
So-
That's why we remember
ROE
them.
soundtrack's freaking legendary.
So yeah, there was a lot of inspiration that went into Vigil, and we just kind of did our own thing, and then took some inspiration. Oh yeah, we're at the 5-minute mark, but yeah, a lot of it came together to make that. So thank you.
Yeah.
Leon.
Sorry if it's already been asked, but Nick, did you take anything from other actors who have played Leon in the past?
Did I take anything from them? No.
Yeah, any of the voice actors or other live action guys? Kind of like what Carl Urban did with Bones.
No, I am overly familiar with all the past games and the performances because I've played them so many times, but you have to kind of detach yourself a little bit because this was, at its core, a reimagining, and so I'm not trying to mimic any kind of energy or anything. I have a very particular voice, so do they, and Capcom just said, just be yourself, don't change anything, and just come in with the right energy for each scene. And so there's no point in going back. I've played them all, they're all in my heart, you know, and we were just making something a little bit different. So I really relied on the director, Tom Keegan. He's a very talented guy. He had never played a Resident Evil game. And so we trusted him to take the direction of the scenes and just keep it a human story. And with RE2 as the backdrop and the RPD station, it all just kind of flowed. And so what we came out with was the game that we have today.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Trying to get through the last.
Hello, good afternoon. Just want to say congratulations on the visual. It looks really, really good.
Thank you.
Upon completion, keeping homage with the Resident Evil, would you have physical copies, maybe collectible certain number?
Man,
in long box form, like the
I
original
would
game?
love that. Yeah, I was thinking like jewel cases, long boxes. I think if we end up doing crowdfunding, I think one of the cool perks would be physical copies in that style of a classic game on PlayStation,
Sega Saturn.
Sega Saturn, yeah, all that. I think that stuff I personally think is really cool. So yeah.
Something that hasn't been addressed yet is for now it's going to be PC only, but that based on the level of crowdfunding we get, it would open up the
If we do that,
possibility to console ports, stuff like that in the future. And so physical copies is definitely something that
Something we're
would
really
be
looking into.
crowdfunding would help with, because for now it's going to be digital PC, but again, like I said, with the crowdfunding opens up more possibilities.
All right,
Thank you.
That would definitely be something.
Last question.
I want to digital myself.
Alright, quick question. Have you guys ever tried out the Resident Evil deck building games?
No, I haven't played that.
Actually,
No.
yeah, like
The thing I love about them is that they even acknowledge Outbreak.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those things were really cool because I got the first box. Like, I walked into a UNiCOMICS back in Boston, and all of a sudden it was just like, that's a thing.
Yeah.
All right, so like I picked it up and everything like that. I didn't never learn how to do it because the only card game I ever played till this day is Yu-Gi-Oh. So anybody can learn that, but like there's all this stuff, and I'm just like I'm reading a paragraph here. All right, okay. So I mean, they're really hard to get.
Yeah.
If you want the complete boxes and
They're
everything, I
tough,
think
that's
they're like
why
over
I-
$100 freaking bucks.
Yeah.
I made one in 6th grade, and I won 3rd place in the science fair with my Resident Evil deck building game.
Third
I'm really proud of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we'd love to get into that.
Perhaps you could stream you guys playing it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Actually, you know, kind of like how me and my friends across the states play like Yu-Gi-Oh when we do the stuff. We just have a camera set there and we see it all.
Yeah, the camera on
See
top.
it. Yeah, it's perfect.
Thank you for that question, man.
Definitely. If we can get a hold of a couple sets, we definitely would do it.
Yeah.
Any last questions? We only have like what is it? 2 minutes?
So do you want to know where they can meet us? Because we're gonna do a big meetup after this, and we really hope that a lot of you come out to hang out with us. So I'm gonna pass it over to Ali here, and he's gonna explain that.
We didn't really plan anything specific because we weren't sure what the attendance would look like. This is way more than we expected. I love this. Thank you guys so much. After this, we're gonna be out in the hallway here. We'll sign your posters. You can take some pictures and stuff if you want. And then we were thinking maybe Devon Busters at the mall.
Dave & Buster's. You just said Dave & Buster's.
People.
We're 100 people.
No,
Roll call.
Like I said, we have nothing reserved, so we're gonna go there. If you guys want to meet us out there and hang out, have some dinner in the general vicinity, play some games.
We're meeting up at 4:30.
One huge table with everyone here on one bill.
So around 4:30ish, Dave and Buster's. If you guys want to come hang out with us for a little bit, we'll do some dinner, play some video games with some fans.
What do you think in 5, 6 p.m.?
4:30 p.m. at Devon Buster's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So hopefully you guys come hang out. So
All right, guys.
Come get posters. Come get posters.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on the Resident Evil.